Have you ever felt like the world has you on a leash, pulled by every rude comment, silent reply, or unexpected setback? You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. Buddha. Most of us live as emotional puppets, reacting to things that don't deserve our energy. You smile, they frown. You break. But what if nothing, and no one, could touch you again? What if you had unshakable control, no matter what life throws your way? Think about it. How much of your peace have you handed to strangers, to your past, to moments that don't matter? This video is your wake-up call. Because once you understand this, everything changes. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming untouchable. Watch till the end. There's a powerful bonus lesson that ties it all together. If you're going to get anything out of this video, just get that. That's all you need to know in life. Number 1, why you should stop caring. There comes a moment in your life when you're so tired, not physically, but emotionally. Tired of reacting, tired of defending, tired of overthinking every word, every silence. You wake up and feel like you're carrying 1,000 invisible ropes, each tugging at you. Someone's opinion here, someone's expectation there. It's exhausting. But here's the truth. No one tells you you're allowed to let go. Peace comes not when you have nothing to care about, but when you care about the right things. These words echo the essence of Buddhist wisdom. You've been told that caring is compassion, but caring about everything is not love. It's bondage. Imagine standing in a storm and every word someone throws at you becomes a hook, pulling, swaying, breaking you. But what if you stopped grabbing the hooks? In Buddhist philosophy, the mind is like a still pond. Every reaction, every unnecessary concern is like a stone tossed into it. The more you react, the more ripples distort your clarity. Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment. And we're not just attached to people, we're attached to being liked, to being right, to being seen. That's why someone's glance, a rude comment, or even silence becomes painful. But ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Every day, people hand you invisible weights, trends, gossip, unrealistic standards, past regrets. And you, without noticing, carry them all. But freedom begins when you start asking, is this concern truly mine to carry? If it's not aligned with your values, if it doesn't lead you to peace, drop it. The modern world rewards hyper-responsiveness. Reply fast, prove your worth, post more, care more. But what if the real strength was in stillness, in silence, in walking away, not because you're weak, but because you refuse to be baited? Let your silence speak louder than your defense. You don't owe a reaction to everything that disturbs your peace. Emotional freedom is not about building walls. It's about not giving keys to everyone who knocks. Instead of caring about being accepted, care about being aligned. Instead of needing to win every argument, ask, will I even remember this a week from now? One day, you'll realize most things don't deserve your attention. Not because they're not real, but because they don't serve your growth. Cut those ropes. Keep only the ones that pull you inward, toward your health, your truth, your peace. So, who told you that you must care about everything? That you must always explain, please, perform? The day you question that is the day you start living differently. The less you react, the more you reclaim. And when you stop caring about the noise, you start hearing your soul again. The less I care, the freer I feel. And in that freedom, I return to myself. Let go, detach, redirect. Build a strong, disciplined mind, calm, still, and untouchable. 2. The illusion of control, chasing clouds with chains. There was a time when you thought control meant safety. that if you planned enough, worked enough, anticipated every possible outcome, you could prevent the pain. So, you held tighter. You managed schedules, conversations, people's perceptions, even their reactions. But life kept slipping through your fingers like water. You were chasing clouds with chains, and the more you tried to hold on, the more exhausted you became. To resist the flow is to suffer. To surrender is to swim. This is one of the core teachings of Buddhism. Control, though comforting in theory, is an illusion. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a river to be experienced. Every time you resist its current, trying to force outcomes, fix people, or micromanage the future, you drift further from peace. You suffer not because life is unfair, but because you demand it be different. In Buddhism, the path to peace begins with acceptance, not passivity, but presence. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. That's the mind in meditation. Some leaves are beautiful, some are rotten. You don't chase them. You don't cling to them. You simply watch. When you understand that your thoughts, emotions, and even your fears are just passing clouds, you stop trying to chain them. Ask yourself, is this a storm I must pass through, or a wall I'm trying to push? There's a difference. The storm requires patience. The wall demands surrender. In both, the answer isn't control, it's clarity. It's breathing into the chaos without becoming it. Because truthfully, the storm will pass with or without your permission. And the wall? It was never meant to move. One of the greatest shifts in spiritual growth is when you stop measuring peace by how much you control and start measuring it by how much you can let go. When you're stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, take a breath and ask, can I act with intention but detach from the result? This is the essence of mindfulness. Align with the action, not the outcome. Plant the seed, but don't pull at it to make it grow. Some days, letting go may feel like weakness, but it's not. It's wisdom. It takes far more strength to trust the flow than to fight it. Control says, I must make this work. Surrender whispers, I'll do my part and release the rest. So, what if you could be at peace even when things are uncertain? What would letting go make room for? Maybe silence, maybe joy, maybe the person you were always becoming beneath all that fear. You don't need to chain the clouds anymore. Let them drift, let life breathe. In that space, in that surrender, peace will rise. When I stopped controlling everything, I started living. Let go of what you can't hold. Breathe into the moment and watch how nothing and no one can touch the calm you carry inside. 3. How society programs you to care. The matrix of approval. You were not born seeking applause. That came later, after the world taught you that love had conditions, success had scripts, and happiness had a price tag. You were born free, curious, present. But somewhere along the way, society handed you a mirror and said, only when they smile back will you know who you are. So you chased approval like air. You measured your worth by likes, comments, reactions. But has it ever made you feel whole? Freedom is not rebellion. It is remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Buddhism teaches that suffering often begins the moment we mistake the external world for truth. You've been programmed, subtly, consistently, to care about things that were never truly yours. The right job, the perfect body, the curated life. And in that chase, you forgot to ask the most important question. Is this mine? Or was it installed? Imagine society as a stage play. Everyone playing roles, confident, successful, desirable, and the moment you step out of character, the spotlight turns cold. But what if you stopped performing? What if, instead of reacting to the applause, you walked off the stage altogether. Start by unplugging. Open a journal and ask, what am I chasing that I never questioned? Maybe it's status. Maybe it's validation from people who don't even know you. Maybe it's a version of success that leaves your soul empty. The moment you see the script, you're free to rewrite it. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means clarity. Buddhism invites us to observe life, not from the center of the storm, but from the stillness within. Try this. The next time society's noise demands a reaction, pause. Imagine you're in the audience of a play. Watch, don't react. Feel the distance between who you are and who the world wants you to be. Say no, not as defiance, but as alignment. Every no to the false is a yes to your truth. Say no to pretending. Say no to hustling for worth. Say no to a life that looks good but feels hollow. Ask yourself, am I living my life or just fulfilling a script? You don't need the world's permission to be at peace. You only need your own. Letting go of what others think isn't coldness. It's courage. It's peeling off the layers they placed on you until what's left is real, quiet, and yours. Because when the world stops watching, when the spotlight fades, what remains is your inner light. And that's the only light that ever mattered. When I stopped caring who I should be, I remembered who I am. Step out of the matrix. Stop chasing shadows. Begin living from your center, not from society's applause. That is where nobody and nothing can affect you again. That is where your true freedom begins. 4. The art of detachment. You've been told to hold on, to fight for what you love, to never let go. But sometimes, it's the holding that hurts you most. Imagine grasping a rose so tightly that the thorns pierce your skin. Now imagine opening your hand and letting it rest gently on your palm. Still yours to admire, but no longer hurting you. This is detachment, not indifference, but presence without possession. Not letting go of life, but letting go of the need to control it. Hold everything lightly, and you will carry the world with grace. This Buddhist principle is often misunderstood. People think detachment means coldness, shutting off emotions, walking away from people, becoming numb. But true detachment is the opposite. It is the art of experiencing life fully, without clinging. When you stop clutching life with a closed fist, it flows through you like breath. Peaceful, unforced, alive. Think about it. How many things are you holding on to right now? A relationship that no longer serves you, a plan that refuses to unfold, a past that keeps repeating, a future you keep fearing. The more you grip, the heavier it gets. The more you cling, the more it slips away. So, what if you stopped gripping? Start by changing your language. Replace "I need this to happen" with "I prefer this, but I'll be okay either way." That one shift softens the mind's rigidity. It reminds you that your peace is not held hostage by outcomes. Practice visualizing your thoughts and emotions as leaves floating down a river. Watch them come. Watch them go. Don't dive in. Don't chase them. Just observe. Detachment is a muscle, and like any muscle, it strengthens through discomfort. Sit with it. When fear arises, don't run. When uncertainty knocks, don't slam the door. Let it pass through you. That stillness you feel, that's power. Ask yourself, what am I holding so tightly that it's hurting me? Is it your need to be understood? Your fear of being alone? Your craving for validation? Every time you sit with these questions, you loosen the rope, and eventually you set yourself free. One of Buddha's greatest teachings is this: suffering begins when we attach. We suffer not because things change, but because we wanted them to stay the same. But life is not meant to be held, it's meant to be experienced. And every experience, good or bad, is just passing through. Let go. Not out of defeat, but out of deep wisdom. Let go, so your hands are free to receive what's truly meant for you. When you release the weight, you rise. When I stopped gripping, I started growing. When I let go, I found peace waiting with open arms. Train your mind to witness, not to cling. To feel, but not to grasp. That's the art of detachment. That's the space where nobody and nothing can disturb your inner calm. That's where freedom lives. 5. What happens when you just stop caring? Most people live their lives like a stirred-up glass of muddy water, constantly reacting, endlessly thinking, always trying to control how they're seen, heard, and understood. But here's the truth. The more you stir, the less you can see. Peace doesn't come from fixing the chaos. It comes when you stop stirring. It comes when you just stop caring, not out of apathy, but out of wisdom. When you stop caring about being seen, you begin to see. This is the power of stillness. Buddhism teaches that clarity isn't something you chase. It's something that rises naturally when you stop reacting. The moment you stop letting everything pull at your mind, the world begins to lose its grip on you. You reclaim your energy. You return to yourself. Ask yourself honestly how many of your reactions are just habits. Someone says something negative. You feel the need to respond. A situation doesn't go your way. You spiral. But what if you didn't? What if, for once, you didn't reply? What if you sat in silence and let the emotion pass like a wave? That's stillness. That's where your power lives. Instead of chasing validation, turn inward. Focus on breath, on posture, on daily rituals that anchor you to the present. When you brush your teeth, feel the sensation. When you drink your tea, taste it fully. These aren't just routines. They are small acts of reclaiming awareness. In a world that demands reaction, presence becomes your rebellion. You're not here to win every argument. You're not here to prove yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Silence is often the wisest answer. And when you hold your peace instead of defending your ego, you'll notice something shift. Your energy begins to rise. Not because you've won, but because you've transcended the need to. Try watching your mind like clouds drifting across the sky. Thoughts will come. Some loud, some painful, some beautiful, but none of them are you. You are the awareness behind them. You don't need to chase every thought or react to every trigger. You just need to notice and let it pass. Ask yourself, what would my life feel like if I stopped reacting and simply observed? What emotions would fade? What truths would surface? When the noise settles, your soul speaks. And that voice, soft, still, clear, is the one you've been drowning out by caring too much about everything else. Let people think what they think. Let life unfold as it will. Let yourself detach from the storm outside. When you stop caring about controlling the world, you discover control over yourself. That's real freedom. The moment I stopped reacting, I began healing. The moment I stopped caring about noise, I heard my truth. Stillness isn't empty. It's full of answers. And when you master the art of not reacting, not chasing, not clinging, nobody and nothing can shake the peace you've built within. 6. You are not your thoughts, the sky behind the storm. Your thoughts are not always telling the truth. Some are echoes of old pain. Some are whispers from fear. Some were never yours to begin with. They were planted by teachers, parents, culture, past experiences. And yet, how often do you believe every word they say? Imagine a storm rolling across the sky. Thunder crashes, rain falls hard, but above it all, untouched, is the vast blue sky. That's who you are, not the storm, but the sky behind it. The mind is a loud guest. You are the host. Buddhist philosophy teaches that most suffering comes not from life itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves about life. And those stories, they live in your mind. But the moment you begin to observe your thoughts rather than become them, something powerful happens. You create distance, and in that distance, there is peace. Try this. When a thought arises, I'm not good enough. They're judging me. I'll never get through this. Don't resist it. Don't argue with it. Just label it. Say to yourself, thinking or judging. That simple act reminds you that the thought is not you. It's just a cloud drifting through. And clouds, no matter how dark, always pass. You are not your anxiety. You are not your self-doubt. You are the awareness watching it all unfold. That's what meditation teaches us, to sit, to witness, to stop engaging. No fixing, no chasing, just watching. And in that space of non-reaction, healing begins. The storm may rage, but the sky remains calm. Next time an intrusive thought shows up, write it down. Look at it. Then ask yourself, do I really want to believe this? Not, is it true? But, does this belief help me? You'll be surprised how many thoughts are inherited patterns you no longer need. When you question them, their grip loosens. When you stop feeding them with attention, they dissolve. Ask yourself, which of my thoughts are just noise? Can I sit with discomfort without obeying it? You'll find that most thoughts are just habit, mental reflexes, and once you stop reacting, they lose their power. You become the sky again, clear, vast, free. This doesn't mean you silence the mind. It means you stop fighting it. Like a mountain that lets the wind pass, you stay grounded, untouched. That's what emotional resilience really is. Not forcing peace, but becoming so rooted in awareness that nothing can move you. The day I stopped believing every thought, I began to hear truth more clearly. The sky was always there. I just forgot to look up. You can't stop thoughts from arising, but you can stop following them. Let them come, let them go, and know that in every moment, beyond the mental noise, there is a quiet space within you, vast, calm, and indestructible. That space is who you truly are. And in that space, nobody and nothing can affect you again. 7. Stop seeking approval, the mirror of still water. There's a moment in every person's life when they realize they've been performing, not living, chasing applause, shaping their words, their choices, even their personality around what others might think. But the deeper you fall into seeking approval, the further you drift from yourself. Imagine your soul as a still pond, clear, honest. But every time you chase someone's praise or fear their judgment, it's like tossing a stone into the water. The reflection warps, your truth blurs. No one's opinion of you is more powerful than your own clarity. In Buddhist practice, there's no prize for being admired. The goal is not applause, it's freedom. And freedom begins when you stop outsourcing your worth. The world will always offer mirrors filled with distortion. But the clearest one? It's stillness. When your mind stops rushing for approval, your true reflection appears. Ask yourself, right now, what am I trying to prove? And to whom? Sometimes we don't even know. We get so used to proving we're smart, successful, attractive, strong, that we forget to ask if any of it actually matters. Most of what you're chasing was never your dream. It was a script handed to you by others. Try this. Practice what I call naked honesty. Say what you mean gently, without bending it for validation. Speak because it's true, not because it's popular. It could be as small as declining an invite when you're tired, or expressing a different opinion without softening your edges. Each time you do it, you chip away at the mask you were never meant to wear. And then, sit in front of a mirror. No makeup, no performance, no fixing your hair. Just silence. And whisper, "I am enough," without applause. Let that echo into your bones. Because you were not born to be liked. You were born to be real. The more you need others to approve of you, the more you become a puppet, and every opinion is another string. But when you cut those strings, something miraculous happens. You begin to move with your own rhythm. You begin to live from the inside out. Approval is a hungry ghost. No matter how much you feed it, it keeps coming back. But authenticity? That nourishes you, that frees you, and the world may not clap for it, but your soul will. So ask yourself, am I living to be seen or to be free? Who would you be if you stopped performing, stopped impressing, and simply showed up as you? The day I stopped needing to be liked was the day I finally met myself. Still water reflects truth. So stop throwing rocks into your own reflection. Let yourself be still, be real. And in that quiet space where you no longer chase approval, you'll find something far more powerful: peace. And from that place, nobody and nothing can affect you again. 8. Say no without guilt. You've been saying yes when you wanted to say no, smiling through discomfort, bending your time, your energy, and your peace to meet expectations that don't feed your soul. And somewhere deep inside, you know you've been betraying yourself, one polite compromise at a time. But what if I told you that saying no isn't rejection? It's liberation. Like a sword in the hands of a peaceful warrior, boundaries, when held with clarity, don't harm. They protect. Compassion includes yourself. Boundaries are love in action. We're taught that kindness means always being available, always saying yes. But Buddhist wisdom says otherwise. Real compassion isn't self-sacrifice, it's balance. When you drain yourself for others, you offer a hollow version of love. And that isn't noble, that's neglect of your own well-being. You can begin today. Start with this: no, I can't. That's a complete sentence. You don't need to explain. You don't need to twist your truth to soften their disappointment. Let your no be gentle but firm, and let it stand. Because every time you say yes out of guilt, you reinforce the story that your needs come last. Ask yourself, what have I been tolerating that my soul is begging me to end? Maybe it's toxic conversations. Maybe it's constantly being the emotional crutch for people who don't grow. Or maybe it's the subtle self-abandonment, the meetings you dread, the favors that weigh heavy, the spaces where your silence feels like survival. Saying no isn't cruel, it's clarity, and clarity is peace. One of the most powerful things you can do is create sacred time. Block out a few hours a week that belong to no one else. No favors, no phone, no interruptions, just you, breathing, resting, realigning. That's your temple. Defend it like your life depends on it, because it does. And when others react, that's their karma, not your guilt. Their disappointment isn't a reflection of your wrongness. It's a reflection of their expectation. Detach from it. Release the need to manage their emotions. Your job is to be true, not to be liked. How much lighter would your life feel if you stopped explaining your boundaries, if you just honored them? You weren't born to carry everyone. You were born to walk freely. And freedom starts with one sacred word: no. Let it be soft, let it be clear, but let it be real. Because every no to them is a yes to your peace, your energy, your life. And that kind of alignment, that's where power lives. So here's your question. What would change if you said no without guilt? Not from rebellion, but from self-respect. How would your energy shift if you stopped negotiating with your truth? The answer isn't out there. It's in your ability to say no when your soul whispers, "Not this." And when you follow that voice, you'll find something rare. A life where nobody and nothing controls your peace. 9. Let go of outcome. Plant the seed. Release the harvest. You try. You give. You wait. And still, life doesn't always unfold the way you hoped. So you tighten your grip. You obsess. You chase results like the wind, hoping that more effort, more control, more worrying will make things happen faster. But have you ever seen a farmer scream at his field? He plants the seed, waters it, and steps back, because even he knows growth doesn't answer to anxiety. The deeper wisdom is this: do what you must and let life unfold. Buddhism teaches us to act without attachment, to pour ourselves into the moment without clinging to what comes next. Yet most of us live with the weight of invisible contracts. If I try hard, I must succeed. If I'm kind, others must treat me well. But life doesn't always obey those rules. And when it doesn't, we suffer. Not because of the event, but because of the story we attach to it. Caring too much about the outcome is a quiet form of suffering. It steals your joy in the process. It makes the present moment feel like an obstacle instead of the sacred path it truly is. So shift your focus from outcome to action, from pressure to presence, from result to rhythm. Use the mantra, I let go of the result, I return to the now. Say it when your mind spirals into what if. Say it when your plans collapse. Say it when your worth starts feeling tangled in achievement. This doesn't mean apathy, it means alignment. You still work, you still create. But with peace in your chest instead of panic in your pulse. When you stop clutching the fruit, you start enjoying the planting, the breath, the moment, because that's all you ever really have. Ask yourself, what if your worth wasn't tied to success? What if you could trust the unseen timing of your life? What might happen if you gave your best and let go? Not because you don't care, but because you understand that peace is more valuable than prediction. Celebrate the process, the showing up, the trying again. Because who you become in the doing, that's the real reward. Not the applause, not the outcome, just the becoming. So plant your seed, water it with devotion, but don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. That's not faith, that's fear. Instead, give life space to surprise you, to unfold in its own divine timing. And when you do, something remarkable happens. You begin to live lighter, freer, unaffected by every twist and turn. Because now, your energy isn't chained to what might happen. It's rooted in the now. The question is, are you ready to stop pulling on the seed? The moment you do, nothing and nobody will disturb your peace again. You'll act with clarity, live with stillness, and trust that what is meant for you already knows the way. 10. Walk away from what drains you, the silent exit. There are battles in life we are meant to fight, but not every conflict is yours to engage with. Some struggles, some toxic environments, some draining relationships. They are not yours to win. They are invitations to walk away. Yet, for so many of us, there's an underlying belief that if we just try harder, if we just fight longer, if we just endure enough, we can change things. But in doing so, we only wear ourselves down, becoming shadows of who we were meant to be. The truth is, not all fires are yours to fight. Some are meant to burn out without your presence. In Buddhism, the concept of detachment teaches us that sometimes the greatest act of strength is not in holding on, but in walking away. And walking away doesn't mean running away or acting out of anger. It's about leaving with peace in your heart, without regret, without guilt. It's about recognizing when something repeatedly steals your peace, when it no longer serves you, and letting it go without looking back. If a situation, a person, or an environment drains you, it is simply not meant for you. No matter how much you want to help, no matter how much you try, sometimes the best thing you can do is exit silently. When you leave without rage, without a loud declaration of your reasons, you reclaim your inner peace. The calm exit is the highest form of detachment. It's the act of stepping away without drama, without the need to explain or justify. It's the ultimate declaration of self-respect. You're saying, I choose my peace over your chaos. It's not a weakness, it's a sign of strength. As you walk away, ask yourself, does this situation nourish my soul or does it deplete it? Because true peace isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about recognizing where your energy is being siphoned off and having the courage to stop giving. You don't need to stay somewhere out of guilt or obligation. You don't need to endure what drains you for fear of disappointing others. When you walk away, you're choosing to protect your energy, your peace, your happiness. The real question to ask yourself is, what are you staying in out of guilt, not growth? So often, we stay in situations that no longer serve us because we feel we owe something to someone. But the truth is, the only person you owe anything to is yourself. You deserve to live in an environment that nurtures your soul, not one that diminishes it. And in that silent exit, you may discover something incredibly profound. Walking away isn't just about leaving behind the draining situation. It's the beginning of coming home to yourself. It's reclaiming the space that was always meant for your peace. By walking away, you make room for something better, something that aligns with who you truly are. Remember, you're not meant to fight every battle. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to let go. So, walk away, not with anger, but with peace. And watch as the world around you begins to reflect the calm and clarity that you've reclaimed for yourself. 11. Practice emotional non-reactivity, the unshakable tree. Imagine standing tall like an ancient tree, its roots firmly anchored in the earth, unshaken by the fierce winds that whip around it. The branches might sway, the leaves may rustle, but the roots, they stay grounded, unwavering. This is the essence of emotional non-reactivity, being deeply rooted in your own presence, no matter the storms of life. In Buddhism, this practice teaches us that when we react to everything, we give away our power. Every emotional outburst, every knee-jerk reaction is a moment where we lose ourselves. But true strength lies not in reacting, but in being still, like the tree, unmoved by the winds of external circumstances. Every time someone or something triggers you, you are giving away your peace. This is a powerful realization. The person who angers you, who causes your frustration or sadness, essentially owns your emotional energy. They control your state, and in doing so, they control you. But there is freedom in non-reactivity. When you choose to stay still, to pause before you speak or act, you reclaim your power. Think about it. How often do we act on impulse without taking a moment to breathe? How often do we respond with defensiveness, trying to protect ourselves or justify our feelings? But in that moment, we are not grounded. We are simply swept along by the storm. Now, imagine the difference if you practiced emotional non-reactivity. The next time something or someone provokes you, take a moment. Pause. Breathe deeply. That 3-second breath can save you not only your energy, but also your peace. It can save relationships too. In that pause, you shift from a reaction to a response. Instead of defending yourself, instead of responding with anger, you can ask a question. This resets the energy, turning a potentially explosive situation into one of calm understanding. You move from being a leaf tossed in the wind to being the tree, rooted, steady, and strong. This practice is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel anger, frustration, or fear. It's about recognizing that these emotions are temporary. Like a storm, they pass. But your stillness, your rootedness, is eternal. When you anchor yourself in your breath, you are not denying your emotions. You are simply choosing not to be defined by them. You allow them to come and go without letting them take control of your mind or your actions. Consider this. How often do you lose yourself in reaction? How often does someone's words or actions completely throw you off balance? Now, what would change if you stayed rooted while everything else swayed? If you could breathe, pause, and respond from a place of inner calm instead of reacting from fear or anger, your world would change. The external circumstances might not, but your response to them would be one of unshakable peace. So, practice emotional non-reactivity. Be the tree. Let the winds come, let the storms rage, but stay grounded, stay present, and watch as nothing and no one affects you in the way it once did. Bonus lesson. Inner freedom begins with acceptance. The door was never locked. You've been standing at that door for too long, trying to break it open. But what if I told you the door was never locked in the first place? You've been pushing, striving, fighting, thinking that peace lies just beyond that threshold, when in reality, the only barrier between you and freedom is your refusal to turn the handle. In Buddhism, the key to true inner freedom isn't found in changing your life or forcing it to fit your expectations. It's found in accepting life as it is, without resistance, without trying to control everything. True freedom isn't an escape. It's a shift in your relationship with life itself. Every time you find yourself stressed, overwhelmed, or stuck, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I resisting reality or am I flowing with it? Often, we get caught in the belief that if we just try harder, if we just push a little more, things will change. But what if the very act of resisting what is what keeps you trapped? When you resist, you fight against life, against your emotions, against the situations you can't control. This struggle creates suffering, and it's only when you let go of that resistance that the suffering begins to dissolve. Radical acceptance is the key to unlocking inner peace. Imagine saying to yourself, this is what it is, and I can meet it with calm. That's the moment when freedom begins. Instead of fighting against the situation, you simply allow it to be. You acknowledge what's happening without judgment or resistance. It's the act of surrender, not to the situation itself, but to the present moment, to what is. By accepting what you cannot change, you release the burden of trying to control it, and in doing so, you free yourself from its hold. Every morning, before your feet hit the ground, try this. I release what I can't change, I embrace what is. Repeat this at night too, as you wind down. It's a simple yet profound practice. By starting and ending your day with surrender, you are giving yourself permission to stop fighting. You are saying, I trust that everything will unfold as it should, and I don't need to control it. So many of us live in constant pursuit of fixing things, making everything perfect. But what if peace isn't about fixing everything? What if peace is about loving yourself through anything? What if the very things you are fighting, your fears, your doubts, your imperfections, are exactly the things that need acceptance, not correction. When you stop trying to change what you can't control, you start to see life more clearly. You begin to notice that the struggles you've been facing were never about the external circumstances, but about your relationship with them. Ask yourself, what are you fighting that simply needs acceptance? What if, instead of pushing against it, you could just lean into it, release the resistance, and let it be? The door to inner peace was never locked. You simply needed to turn the handle and walk through. The freedom you seek is always available to you in every moment in your acceptance of what is. Quick summary of the principles. Why you should stop caring. Caring about everything drains your mind and energy. Focus only on what aligns with your values and peace. When you stop chasing unnecessary approval, you regain clarity. Let go of the need to be everywhere, for everyone. The illusion of control. Trying to control everything is a root cause of stress and anxiety. Life is unpredictable. Peace comes when you surrender to the flow. Do your best, then let go of the outcome. Trust in presence, not control. How society programs you to care. Much of what you worry about isn't yours. It's societal conditioning. You've been taught to seek validation and live by others' standards. Awakening begins when you question what you've accepted. Reclaim your power by unplugging from the noise. The art of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean giving up. It means being present without clinging. You don't need to hold everything so tightly. Learn to let thoughts, emotions, and outcomes come and go. In stillness, you find true strength. What happens when you just stop caring? The less you react, the more peaceful you become. When you stop caring about what doesn't serve you, clarity emerges. Your attention is your power. Stop giving it to drama. Protect your energy like sacred space. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not facts. They are just passing mental weather. Observe without attachment. The real you is the awareness behind them. Freedom begins when you stop believing every thought. Stop seeking approval. Chasing approval keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. You don't need external applause to validate your worth. The more authentic you are, the more liberated you become. Be your own witness. Say no. Without guilt. Saying no is self-respect, not selfishness. Boundaries protect your energy, focus, and inner peace. Let others deal with their reactions. You are not responsible for everyone's comfort, only your truth. Let go of outcome. You can't control what happens after your effort, only how you show up. Surrendering the result is not giving up, it's freedom. Focus on the journey, not the reward. Let your actions be your joy. Walk away from what drains you. Protect your peace by walking away from people and situations that drain you. Not all battles are worth fighting. Leaving in silence can be more powerful than reacting in noise. Choose your peace over their chaos. Practice emotional non-reactivity. Reactivity weakens your inner foundation. Stay rooted in calm while everything else moves around you. Respond with mindfulness, not impulse. Inner stillness is the true form of strength. Inner freedom begins with acceptance. Acceptance is the gateway to peace. The moment you stop resisting reality, you become free. You don't have to like it, just stop fighting it. What you embrace no longer controls you. There comes a moment in life when you must stop running from yourself and start returning to yourself. Not everything needs your energy. Not every battle deserves your reaction. And not every opinion should shape your identity. The more you let go, the more you remember who you truly are. When you stop caring about the wrong things, you start living for the right ones. Peace, presence, and purpose. You're not here to impress the world. You're here to wake up from the illusion of control, comparison, and fear. Life doesn't ask for your perfection. It asks for your awareness. In the teachings of Zen, the less you cling, the more you see. A mind burdened by stress, opinions, and expectations is like a dirty mirror. It reflects nothing clearly. But when you clean it with detachment and clarity, the truth becomes visible. You are already enough. Don't let society, stress, or self-doubt dictate the quality of your life. Take back your power, walk lightly, live freely, and care only for what truly matters. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you rise above it all. Let go or be dragged. If this message stirred something within you, don't keep it to yourself. Like and share this video, drop your reflections in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.